The champagne glasses clinked in celebration as Kang Ju-won stepped into Lee Ji-ho's penthouse, Manhattan's skyline glittering through the windows. His friend had insisted on this dinner party, claiming Ju-won needed to get out to stop brooding. 7 months since the divorce, and he still couldn't understand what went wrong with his marriage and why Sabrina had left. One day, they were happy in Seoul, planning their future. The next, he'd received the divorce papers, and she had vanished without explanation. Until now. At first he thought it was his mind playing tricks on him, but it wasn't. She looked different, but it was her. A pregnant woman carrying champagne flutes, moving carefully through the crowd. His heart stopped. That face, those eyes. Sabrina, his ex-wife, heavily pregnant, her beauty dimmed by exhaustion and a maid's uniform too tight across her swollen belly. Dark circles shadowed her eyes. Her legs trembled with each step. Their eyes met across the crowded room, and the champagne flute slipped from her hand. Glass exploded against marble. Champagne spread across white floors. The household manager descended on her immediately, his voice sharp and vicious. "Clumsy! Do you know how much that costs? This is the 3rd mistake tonight. You're lucky I don't dock your entire pay." Sabrina's face was drained of colour. She bent down awkwardly, her pregnant belly making it nearly impossible to reach the shattered glass. Her hands shook so badly the pieces kept slipping through her fingers. She looked like she might collapse. Ju-won moved, his body cut through the crowd like a blade, every eye tracking him. The manager was still berating her, his voice rising, when Ju-won's hand clamped down on his shoulder. The grip was iron. "Don't you dare raise your voice at her." His voice was deadly calm, the kind of quiet that preceded violence. The manager whirled around, irritation flashing across his face until he saw who was holding him. Recognition hit. His face went white. "Mr. Kang, she's just a maid who—" "She's my wife." Silence crashed over the room like a wave. Music died. Conversation stopped mid-sentence. Sabrina's head snapped up, her eyes wide with shock and raw terror. She was still on her knees, surrounded by broken glass, one hand pressed against her swollen belly, as if protecting the baby from him. The sight of her like that, pregnant, exhausted, on the floor, afraid, made something violent and primal tear through his chest. "Get up," he said, his voice softer now but no less intense. He extended his hand to her. She stared at it like it was a snake. "Ju-won, please leave me alone. I need this job. Get up now." She finally took his hand. Her fingers were freezing, trembling against his palm. When he pulled her to her feet, she swayed dangerously. He caught her elbow to steady her, and she jerked away from his touch like it burned. "Don't touch me." The words hit him like a physical blow. Ji-ho appeared at his shoulder, concern etched across his face, eyes darting between them. "What's going on, man?" Ju-won didn't take his eyes off Sabrina. She looked like she might run, like she might shatter. "Is there a place we can talk? Somewhere private?" Ji-ho's eyes widened as understanding dawned. "Use my office, down the hall, last door on the left." Ju-won's hand moved toward Sabrina's lower back, instinct to guide her, to protect her. She flinched away before he could touch her. He dropped his hand, but stayed close as they walked. She moved slowly, painfully, one hand supporting her belly. Her breathing was laboured. He noticed the way her ankles were swollen, the way she had to pause every few steps. How long had she been working like this? How long had she been suffering? The hallway emptied as they approached. The office was quiet, insulated from the party noise. Massive windows overlooked Central Park, city lights blinking like distant stars. Ju-won closed the door, and Sabrina immediately moved away from him, putting the desk between them. her arms wrapped protectively around her belly. "Why are you here?" Her voice shook. "In New York. I thought you were in Seoul with..." "With who?" The question came out harsher than he intended. "With Hana, your new wife." The name hit him like ice water. "Hana is not my wife. She's never been my wife." "But your father said..." "My father said what, Sabrina?" His control was fracturing. "What did my father tell you?" Tears filled her eyes. "He came to our house. He told me you were going to marry someone suitable. Someone from a proper Korean family who could give you the alliances you needed. Kim Hana." His blood turned cold. "He said what?" "He showed me various pictures of you with Hana at business dinners, galas, your hand on her back, and there was a picture you guys were kissing. He showed me divorce papers with your signature. He said you'd already moved on. You were travelling a lot then, and was always quiet and angry when I tried to talk to you, so I believed him." Her voice cracked. "He said if I didn't leave quietly, he'd destroy my parents. So I signed, and I ran." "I never signed divorce papers." Each word came out carefully, precisely, because if he lost control now, he'd burn Seoul to the ground. "I never wanted a divorce. I never wanted Hana. Those dinners were business obligations I couldn't avoid. And as for us kissing, I have no idea how that happened. I told her every single time that I was married. I understand I was always angry then, but it had nothing to do with you. It was just business, Sabrina." Sabrina stared at him, confusion and desperate hope warring on her tear-stained face. "But I saw your signature right there on the papers." "He forged it." The realization detonated in his mind. "My father forged my signature. He manipulated you. He drove you away." His eyes dropped to her swollen belly, and his voice turned raw. "How far along are you?" She took a step back, protective. "Why does it matter?" "Because I need to know." "How far along, Sabrina?" 7 months. The words stopped his heart. He did the calculation. She was pregnant when she disappeared. "It's mine." Not a question. A fact carved in stone. Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. She nodded, unable to speak. "Say it. I need to hear you say it." "Yes." Her voice broke completely. "Yes, it's yours." Ju-won's knees nearly buckled. She'd been carrying his child all these while. Alone, terrified, working herself to exhaustion because his father had destroyed everything. "Where are you living?" His voice came out rough, barely controlled. "I have an apartment in Queens." She wiped at her tears with the back of her hand. "What about this job?" he asked. "I have to eat, Ju-won. The baby has to eat. I can't..." Her voice cracked. "I don't have anyone else. My parents think I'm working in fashion here. They don't know about the baby." His vision went dark at the edges. His father had done this, had reduced his wife, his brilliant, beautiful wife, to scrubbing floors while pregnant with his child. "When did you last see a doctor?" She looked away. "I go for checkups." "When, Sabrina?" 1 month ago. She hadn't seen a doctor in a month. Anything could be wrong. The baby could be... He couldn't even finish the thought. "You're never working another day as a maid." He pulled out his phone. "You're coming home with me. Tonight." "I can't." Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. "I don't want problems with your father." "Let me worry about my father." He moved around the desk, slowly, like approaching a wounded animal. "I don't understand." She was shaking now, her whole body trembling. "If you didn't sign the papers, if you didn't want Hana, then why didn't you come after me? Why didn't you find me? I tried. I had every man in my organisation searching Seoul for you. For months, Sabrina. But you'd disappeared. No forwarding address, no paper trail, nothing. It was like you'd vanished." He ran a hand through his hair, frustration and anguish bleeding into every word. "I moved to New York." I couldn't stay in Seoul anymore. Everything there reminded me of you. I thought maybe starting over somewhere new would help me forget, but I never forgot. Not for 1 second. She stared at him, tears streaming down her face. I've been here the whole time, and I had no idea. His voice turned raw with anguish. If I'd known, God, Sabrina, if I'd known you were here, that you were pregnant. She swayed suddenly, her hand flying to the desk for support. He caught her before she could fall, his arms wrapping around her despite her weak protests. He pulled out his phone, dialing. You're sitting down, now. She didn't have the strength to argue. He guided her to Jiho's leather couch, and she sank into it, like her legs couldn't hold her another second. Her hand went to her belly, rubbing slow circles, and he saw the way her uniform stretched painfully tight across her stomach, saw the exhaustion carved into every line of her beautiful face. His driver answered on the first ring. Bring the car around. Now. Ju-won! Sabrina started. Don't argue with me. Not about this. He crouched in front of her, close enough to feel her warmth, but still not touching. I'm taking you to my apartment. I'm getting you food, proper medical care, everything you and our baby need, and you're not going back to that apartment in Queens. Is that clear? I can't just let you. Yes, you can. You're carrying my child, my son. His voice dropped, turned fierce. Do you think I'm going to let you spend one more night in that place? One more hour working yourself to death? I have a lot of money and all of it means nothing if you're not safe, if our baby's not protected. She stared at him, searching his face. After a long moment, she whispered, I'm so tired, Ju-won. I'm so tired of being scared, of being alone. You're not alone anymore, I promise you that. A knock at the door. Jiho's voice came through, careful. Brother, your car's ready. Ju-won stood, offered his hand. This time, when Sabrina took it, she didn't pull away. He helped her to her feet, and when she swayed again, he made a decision. He swept her up into his arms, cradling her against his chest. Ju-won, she gasped. Put me down. I can walk. No. His arms tightened around her, protective and possessive. You're not walking anywhere. Jiho had the hallway cleared. Guests were still on the balcony, oblivious to the drama that had just unfolded. Ju-won carried Sabrina through the penthouse like she weighed nothing, because to him, she was. His driver stood beside the car, the door already open. Ju-won settled Sabrina into the back seat with careful tenderness. She sank into the leather, and for the first time all night, some of the tension left her shoulders. He slid in beside her, leaving space between them, but close enough to catch her if she fell. Where to, Mr. Kang? The driver asked. Home, and call Dr. Park. Tell him I need him at the penthouse in 30 minutes. It's an emergency. The car pulled away from the curb, melting into New York traffic. She turned to look at him, and in the dim light of the car, he saw the exhaustion etched into every line of her face. But he also saw something else, hope, fragile and tentative, but there. Your father was very convincing, she said quietly. He had everything, the papers, the photos, the story. He made it seem so real, like you'd already moved on and I was just an obstacle. He's going to pay for what he did. The words came out cold, final, deadly. I'm flying to Seoul. I'm confronting him face to face, and he's going to answer for every lie he told you, for every night you spent alone and scared, for every tear you cried. Her eyes widened with fear. No. Ju-won, what if he does something? He finally took her hand, his fingers wrapping around hers. I'm not the man I was 7 months ago, Sabrina. My empire here is stronger than anything my father built in Seoul. And he doesn't get to win, not this time. The car pulled up to a sleek high-rise overlooking Central Park. Sabrina stared up at it as he helped her down. You live here? Yes. She looked up at him, tears glistening in her eyes. What are we doing, Ju-won? What is this? This, he said, his voice rough with emotion, is me getting back everything that was stolen from us. The baby kicked, hard enough that Sabrina gasped, her hand flying to her belly. Ju-won felt it against his palm where he'd moved to steady her, his child, moving, alive, real. He knows, Sabrina whispered, wonder breaking through her fear. He knows his father's here. Ju-won's eyes burned. Let's go inside. The penthouse doors opened and Sabrina stood frozen in the doorway as she admired everything. She walked slowly into the space, her shoes silent on marble floors. Everything was pristine, expensive, perfect, and so painfully empty. She turned to look at him, and the raw honesty in his face made her chest tighten. Before she could say something, he was already moving toward the kitchen. Sit, please. You need to eat. Ju-won, please, Sabrina. Just let me take care of you. She sank onto the leather couch, and the softness almost made her cry. This felt like heaven. Ju-won was already on his phone, speaking rapid Korean. She caught fragments, japchae, bulgogi, kimchi jjigae, all her favourites, he remembered. He ended the call and moved to the kitchen, returning with water and prenatal vitamins. Dr. Park will be here in 20 minutes, the food in 30. You don't have to. Yes, I do. He set the water on the coffee table. Have some water. The doctor arrived exactly on time, a kind-faced man in his 50s carrying a medical bag. Ju-won had clearly explained the situation, because Dr. Park's expression was professionally neutral, but his eyes were concerned. Let's check you and the baby. The examination was thorough. Blood pressure, heartbeat, measuring her belly. Sabrina lay on the couch while Dr. Park worked, acutely aware of Ju-won standing nearby, his hands clenched into fists, his entire body radiating tension. The baby's heartbeat is strong, Dr. Park said, and Ju-won's shoulders sagged with relief. But you're severely malnourished. Your blood pressure is too low. You're anemic. If you'd continued like this much longer. He paused, his meaning clear. But the baby's okay. Sabrina's voice shook. He's healthy. He's resilient, but he needs his mother to be healthy too. Dr. Park pulled out prescription pads, started writing. Prenatal vitamins, iron supplements, protein powder. You need to gain at least 10 pounds in the next month. No more physical labour. Complete rest for 2 weeks minimum. After Dr. Park left, the food arrived. Ju-won set everything out on the dining table. The smell alone made her stomach clench with hunger. Eat, he said gently, as much as you can. The bulgogi melted on her tongue, the japchae was perfectly seasoned, the kimchi jjigae warmed her from the inside out. She looked up to find Ju-won watching her with an expression that made her heart ache. What? I'm memorizing this. You, here, safe. I need to remember this when I'm in Seoul. The mention of Seoul made her appetite vanish. You're really going? I have to. He stood. But first, come with me. He led her to the master bedroom and opened the bathroom door to reveal a massive, soaking tub. Take a bath. Take as long as you need. I'll leave clothes on the bed. After he left, Sabrina stared at herself in the mirror, dark circles under her eyes, cheekbones too prominent. She looked like a ghost of the woman she used to be. The bath was heaven. Hot water enveloped her, her pregnant belly rising above the surface. And finally, she let herself break. The sobs came from somewhere deep, from months of fear and loneliness and exhaustion pouring out. She cried until she had nothing left, until the water cooled, until she felt empty and somehow lighter. The clothes Ju-won had left were soft. Expensive pyjama pants with an elastic waist, a silk robe that wrapped around her belly. She dried her hair and padded back to the living room barefoot. Ju-won was standing at the windows. He turned when he heard her, and something in his expression shifted when he saw her in his clothes, clean and warm and safe in his home. Better? Yes, thank you. She moved to the couch, and he sat beside her, not touching, but close. Can I feel him? The baby? She took his hand, placed it on her belly. They waited in silence, and then, there, a strong kick against his palm. Ju-won's entire face transformed. He's strong, Ju-won whispered. He has to be. He's your son. Did they tell you what we're having? She watched his face. We're having a son. Ju-won's eyes closed, and when they opened again, they were bright with unshed tears. A son. His hand stayed on her belly. Have you chosen a name? No. Her voice went soft. I was waiting. I couldn't do it alone. It felt wrong. We'll choose together. His thumb stroked gently across her belly. I'm leaving tomorrow morning. His voice turned firm. But you'll be protected. My best men will be stationed outside. No one gets near you without going through them first. That's not enough. Fear made her voice sharp. Your father destroyed us once. What if he tries again? What if he sends someone after me while you're gone? Ju-won stood, walked to a drawer, and returned with something that made her breath catch. A handgun, sleek and black and deadly. I need you to know how to protect yourself. He sat beside her again, the weapon resting carefully in his hands. I trust my men with my life, but I need you to be able to protect yourself and our son if something goes wrong. Ju-won, I've never... I'll teach you. Right now. His eyes were intense. It's simple, but it could save your life. He showed her the safety, how to check if it was loaded, how to hold it properly. His hands guided hers, patient and thorough. If someone gets past my men, if anyone threatens you or our baby, you don't hesitate. You shoot first. You ask questions later. Understand? She nodded, the weight of the gun both terrifying and empowering in her hands. Promise me. His voice turned rough. Promise me you'll use it if you have to. I promise. He took the gun back, set it on the coffee table. Then he pulled out his phone, programmed something, and handed it to her. This button. Direct line to me, anytime, day or night. If anything happens, anything at all, you call me. I'll be on the next plane back. She took the phone, their fingers brushing. The touch sent electricity through her. When I come back, he said quietly, his eyes locked on hers. We start over. No more lies, no more separation, no more letting anyone control our lives. My father doesn't get to win. He leaned forward, his forehead touching hers. They stayed like that, breathing the same air, so close she could feel his heartbeat. For a moment, she thought he might kiss her, wanted him to kiss her. But he pulled back, his control still intact. Get some rest, he whispered. I'll be in the guest room if you need me. He stood, and she watched him walk away, her hand instinctively going to her belly. The gun sat on the nightstand beside the bed where he'd placed it. His phone in her hand, his protection surrounding her, she lay down in his bed, their bed, and for the first time in months, she felt safe enough to sleep. The door to his father's office didn't just open, it slammed back against the wall with enough force to crack the wood. Kang Si-yoon looked up from his desk, phone pressed to his ear, and for the first time in Ju-won's life, he saw genuine shock cross his father's face. I'll call you back. His father ended the call, setting the phone down with careful precision. Jun-won, this is unexpected. I found her. Ju-won closed the door behind him with deliberate calm. The click echoed like a gunshot. I found Sabrina. His father's mask slipped for just a fraction of a second, calculation flashing behind his eyes before the composure returned. I see, and you've come all this way to tell me about your ex-wife. She's not my ex-wife. Ju-won's voice was deadly quiet. Because I never signed those divorce papers. You did. You forged my signature, and don't you dare lie to me. Si-hyun leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled. It was for your own good, for the family. You were making emotional decisions that would have destroyed everything we built. Everything you built? Ju-won moved closer to the desk, on blood and lies and manipulation. You're being dramatic. The girl was unsuitable. Kim Hana comes from one of the most powerful families in Seoul. The alliance would have strengthened both our positions, expanded our reach. It was the logical choice. She's a person I've never wanted and never will. Ju-won's hands clenched into fists. You showed Sabrina forged papers. You threatened her family. You drove her away when she was... His voice cracked. When she was carrying my child. That got his father's attention. Si-hyun's eyes widened slightly. What? She's pregnant. With my son. Ju-won watched his father's face carefully. Your grandson. The heir you claim to care so much about. And because of your lies, she had to do it alone. I am your father. And I was trying to save you from destroying your future over some African girl who... Stop talking. Ju-won's voice dropped to a lethal calm. Before you say something that makes me forget you're my father. Her name is Sabrina. And she's my wife. The only woman I've ever loved. The mother of my unborn child. Each word came out like a blade. And I'm done. With you. With this family. With your empire and your blood money and your alliances. I'm severing all ties. You can't... I already did. My business in New York is mine. Built with my own money, my own connections, completely separate from your organisation. I don't need your approval. I don't need your support. I don't need anything from you. His father stood, hands slamming on the desk. You'll have nothing. I will disown you. You'll lose the Kang name, the protection, the legacy. Everything I built for you. I already have everything. Ju-won's voice turned soft but fierce. I have her. I have my son. That's all I need. That's all I've ever needed. You're throwing away your birthright for love. The word hung in the air between them. Something you've never understood. Si-hyun's face had gone pale with rage. Get out. Gladly. But hear this first. Ju-won leaned forward, his voice dropping to a deadly promise. Stay away from my wife. Stay away from my child. If you come near them, if you send anyone near them, if you so much as breathe in their direction, I will destroy everything you've built. Every alliance, every business deal, every dirty secret you've buried. I'll expose it all. I know where all the bodies are buried, Father. I helped you bury some of them. You wouldn't dare. Try me. Ju-won straightened. Hana won't accept this. His father's voice was cold now, controlled fury. Her family won't accept this. You've embarrassed them, humiliated them. There will be consequences. That's your problem, not mine. You made this mess with your lies. You deal with the fallout. Ju-won turned towards the door. You'll regret this. His father called after him. You'll come crawling back when reality hits, when you realise love doesn't pay bills or protect you from enemies. Ju-won paused at the door, looked back one last time. Goodbye, father. He walked out and didn't look back. Across Seoul, in the elegant Kim family estate, Kim Hana sat in her private study, phone pressed to her ear. Her informant's voice was breathless with news. He confronted his father, declared he's keeping the African woman and the baby, said he's severing all ties with the family. Hana's grip tightened on the phone until her knuckles went white. He chose her. What should I do? Nothing yet. I'll handle this myself. She ended the call, staring at the photo on her desk. Ju-won at a business gala, years ago, looking magnificent in a tailored suit. She'd loved him since they were children, since the first time their families had met to discuss the eventual alliance. He was supposed to be hers. It had been planned, until that woman appeared, Sabrina. If I can't have him, Hana whispered to the empty room, her beautiful face twisting with obsession and rage, then she can't either. She opened her laptop, booked a flight to New York, leaving in 6 hours. 14 hours later, Ju-won's private jet touched down at JFK. Exhaustion pulled at him, but relief pushed him forward. It was done. He was free. They were free. He called Sabrina from the car. She answered on the first ring. Ju-won, how did it go? It's done. I'm free of him. We're free of him. He closed his eyes, let himself feel it. I'm coming home. Are you okay? I will be, when I see you. He paused. Are you okay? The baby? We're both fine. Your men are very attentive. I think they're afraid of you. That made him smile. Good. They should be. Stay inside until I get there, okay? Please. I will. Hurry home. The penthouse was dark when he arrived, except for the soft glow from the bedroom. Sabrina was awake, sitting up in bed reading, her hand resting on her belly. She looked up when he entered, and the relief on her face mirrored his own. You're back. I'm back. He crossed to her, pulled her gently into his arms, careful of her belly. His hand went automatically to where their son was growing, and right on cue, the baby kicked. I missed you both. We missed you too. She pulled back to look at his face. What happened? I told him everything. Told him I'm done. That we're done. He threatened, raged, and tried to manipulate. But it doesn't matter anymore. He has no power over us. They talked through the night, Ju-won telling her everything about the confrontation. Sabrina curled against him. Eventually, the jet lag caught up with him. He fell asleep with his hand on her belly, finally at peace. The next morning, Sabrina woke to sunlight streaming through the windows, and Ju-won was still sleeping beside her. He looked exhausted even in sleep. The confrontation with his father clearly taking its toll. She didn't want to wake him. The baby was active, kicking insistently, and she was restless. She'd been cooped up in the penthouse for days. The doctor had said fresh air and light, exercise were good for the baby. Just a short walk. Maybe pick up a few things for the nursery. She left a note on her pillow. Gone shopping for baby things. Took the guards. Back soon. Rest. I love you. The guards were alert when she emerged, 2 of Ju-won's most trusted men. They flanked her as she walked to the waiting car, drove her to Soho. The boutique was charming, full of tiny clothes and soft blankets. Sabrina wandered through the aisles, touching onesies and little shoes, imagining her son wearing them. She didn't notice the woman across the street, didn't see the cold calculation in beautiful eyes, didn't recognize the danger until it was too late. Hana had arrived in New York that morning, her sources tracking Sabrina's movements with precision. She'd been watching the penthouse, waiting. And now, here was her chance. She pulled out her phone, made the call. I found her, Soho, Spring Street, baby boutique. What do you want us to do? She's going into the parking garage next door. There are only 2 guards. Create a distraction, separate them from her. I'll handle the rest. And then we make sure Kang Ju-won understands what he's lost. Hana's smile was ice. Move now. Sabrina walked through Soho with a lightness. The guards flanked her, professional and alert, but giving her space. She appreciated that. They were almost to the parking garage when the explosion happened. Not a real explosion, a car alarm, deafening and sudden, combined with the crash of metal on metal. A staged accident 2 streets over, dramatic enough to turn heads. One of her guards immediately moved toward the commotion, speaking rapidly into his radio. "Stay with her!" he barked at the other guard, already jogging towards the noise. Sabrina and the remaining guard continued towards the parking garage entrance. The dim concrete structure felt cooler after the bright sunshine. Their footsteps echoed. She didn't see them coming until it was too late. 3 men materialized from behind concrete pillars. Her guard reacted instantly, reaching for his weapon, but they were faster. 2 of them hit him at once. Brutal, efficient, professional. He went down hard, his head cracking against concrete. Sabrina screamed. The sound echoed through the garage, but there was no one to hear. She turned to run, but her pregnant belly made her slow, clumsy. The men surrounded her quickly, blocking every direction, but they didn't grab her. Not yet. They stood there, smirking, confident. She was just a pregnant woman, defenseless. Then she heard the click of heels on concrete. A woman emerged from the shadows, and Sabrina's breath caught. She recognized her from the pictures. This was Hana, her hair perfectly styled, her makeup flawless. But her eyes were cold, dead. "Hello, Sabrina." Her voice was smooth, cultured, with a slight Korean accent. "I don't believe we've been properly introduced. I'm Hana. The woman Ju-won was supposed to marry." She took a step closer. "The woman you stole him from. He never wanted you." Sabrina's voice shook but held firm. Hana's beautiful face twisted with something ugly, rage mixed with obsession. "He chose wrong, and now you're going to pay for that mistake." She looked at her men, nodded once. "Take her." The men moved toward her. Sabrina's hand dove into her purse. Her fingers found the cold metal of the gun Ju-won had given her. The men were reaching for her now, their hands extended, confident they could overpower a pregnant woman easily. As the first man's fingers touched her arm, Sabrina pulled the gun out and aimed it with both hands. They were shaking, but she held firm. The men froze. "Let me go." Her voice was steadier than her hands. "Now." Hana laughed, the sound sharp and cruel. "You won't shoot. Look at you. You're shaking. You're too soft, too weak." One of the men lunged for her, thinking he could disarm her before she could react. Sabrina pulled the trigger. The gunshot was deafening in the enclosed space. The man screamed, went down, clutching his leg, blood spreading across the concrete. The other men jumped back, hands up, shock written across their faces. Hana's expression transformed from smug superiority to pure rage. "You." The second guard came running, weapon drawn, shouting into his radio. More of Ju-won's men appeared, and suddenly Hana's people were outnumbered. Gunfire erupted, quick, controlled bursts. Hana's men scattered. "This isn't over," Hana screamed as she fled, her heels clicking frantically on concrete. Then silence, except for the wounded man on the ground, moaning, and Sabrina's ragged breathing. She stood there, the gun still in her hands, unable to move. Then the pain hit, sharp, sudden, radiating from her belly through her entire body. No. She looked down at her trembling hands. No, not now. Another contraction, stronger than the first. Her knees buckled. The guard caught her before she hit the ground. "The baby." She could barely get the words out. "It's too early. Call Mr. Kang. Get an ambulance here now." The gun slipped from Sabrina's fingers, clattered on the concrete. Another contraction, stronger, closer. Sabrina just shot a man to protect her unborn child, a pregnant woman. abandoned and alone for months, pulling a trigger without hesitation because an obsessed rival tried to steal her life. You felt that power shift, didn't you? The way Hana underestimated her, the way Sabrina proved she's not a victim anymore, the way love turned her into a warrior. If you stop here, I assure you, you will have dreams wondering if baby Harjin survives. So stay till the end because this story is not one of your regulars. Hit that like button right now. Subscribe to the channel for more stories where love survives betrayal, mothers become warriors, and villains get exactly what they deserve. Drop a comment. Team Sabrina or Team Ju-won? Trick question. We're all Team Baby. Back to the story. Because Hane's about to learn a very important lesson. Across town, Ju-won was jolted awake by his phone ringing. He grabbed it, saw his guard's number. "Sir!" The man's voice was panicked. "There was an attack. Your wife defended herself. She shot one of them, but she's going into labour." The world tilted. "Where is she?" "Ambulance is taking her to Duke Hospital." "I'm on my way." He was out the door in seconds, his driver already waiting. The ambulance screamed through Manhattan. Inside, Sabrina gripped the EMT's hand, contractions coming faster. 7 months, she whispered. "It's too early." "We're almost there. Just breathe." But breathing was impossible. Her baby wasn't ready. What if something was wrong? Ju-won's car screeched to a stop outside the hospital. He was running before it fully stopped. His men had already secured the floor. One of his guards intercepted him. "Sir, it was Kim Hana. She tried to kidnap her." Something cold and deadly settled in Ju-won's chest. "Where is she?" "She escaped, but we have one of her men." "Find her." His voice was ice. "Now." He took the stairs 2 at a time, found a doctor. "Where's my wife?" "Mr. Kang. Your wife is in labour. We tried to stop it, but we can't. The baby's heart rate is dropping. We need to do an emergency C-section." The floor fell away beneath him. "Let me see her." Sabrina was on a gurney, monitors beeping, IV in her arm. When she saw him, she started crying. "Ju-won." He was at her side instantly, taking her hand. "I'm here. It's too early." Her voice broke. "He's not ready." "He's going to be fine. You're both going to be fine." The doctor appeared. "We need to go now." Sabrina's terrified eyes met his. "I'm so scared." "I know." He pressed his forehead to hers. "You shot a man to protect our son. You can do this." "Sir, we need to go. I'm coming with her." They handed him scrubs. He changed in seconds. The OR doors swung open. Bright lights, sterile white. He positioned himself at Sabrina's head, never letting go of her hand. She was trembling, crushing his fingers. "I'm right here," he whispered. "I'm not going anywhere." The doctor picked up the scalpel. "We're starting now." The doctor's voice cut through the tension. "Baby's out." But there was no cry. Just silence. Terrible, endless silence. Sabrina's eyes went wide with terror. Why isn't he crying? Why isn't... Then it came. A thin, reedy wail that was the most beautiful sound Ju-won had ever heard. His knees nearly buckled with relief. "He's here," the doctor said, and there was a smile in his voice. "You have a son." They placed the baby on Sabrina's chest for just a moment. Tiny, impossibly small, his skin almost translucent, but his eyes were open, dark and aware, and when Sabrina touched his cheek, he turned toward her hand. "Hi, baby," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "Hi." "Harjin, we've been waiting for you." Ju-won couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. His son, their son, alive, real, perfect. The nurse handed him surgical scissors. "Would you like to cut the cord?" His hands were shaking so badly he almost couldn't do it, but he managed. The symbolic severing. Their son, a separate person now. His own life beginning. "We need to take him to the NICU." the doctor said gently. He's premature. We need to monitor him closely. Is he okay? Ju-won's voice was hoarse. He's strong, better than we expected for 7 months, but we need to be cautious. They whisked Ha-jin away, and Sabrina reached for Ju-won's hand, exhausted but radiant. We did it. You did it. He pressed his forehead to hers. You're incredible. 2 weeks in the NICU felt like a lifetime, but Ha-jin thrived, gained weight, passed every test. The doctors were amazed at his resilience. The day they brought him home, Ju-won carried the car seat like it contained the most precious cargo in the world. Because it did. Sabrina walked beside him, one hand on his arm, unable to stop looking at their son. The penthouse had been transformed, a nursery with a crib, changing table, mountains of supplies, everything Ha-jin could possibly need. That first night, Ju-won barely slept. He kept checking on Ha-jin, watching his tiny chest rise and fall. At 3 a.m, Sabrina found him standing over the crib, just staring. He's okay, she whispered. I know, I can't stop looking at him. She wrapped her arms around him from behind. Neither can I. The days blurred together, feedings every 3 hours, diaper changes, Ha-jin's small cries that sent Ju-won scrambling every time. He'd face down armed enemies without flinching, but his son's tears unmade him completely. His phone rang one morning, his contact at NYPD. We got her, Kim Ha-na, trying to board a flight to Seoul at JFK, arrested an hour ago. Satisfaction settled cold in his chest. Charges! Attempted kidnapping, assault with deadly weapon, conspiracy. The guy your wife shot is cooperating fully, gave us everything. Hana hired them, planned it all, paid for the whole operation. Good. Make sure the DA gives her maximum. Already done. She's looking at 5 to 10 years, and get this, her family issued a public statement disowning her. They're cutting all ties to save their reputation. Ju-won smiled without warmth. Perfect. Thank you. 2 months passed. Ha-jin grew stronger, healthier, more alert. Sabrina bloomed back into herself. Their penthouse became a true home. But Ju-won kept his business separate. His empire ran smoothly in the shadows, but never touched his family. Then came the knock. Ju-won looked through the peephole. His entire body went rigid. Take Ha-jin to the nursery. Who is it? Sabrina asked. My father. He opened the door, blocking the entrance with his body. Kang Si-hyun stood there, older somehow, tired. Ju-won, you're not welcome here. I know. I came to apologize and meet my grandson. You think an apology fixes what you did? No, but it's a start. His father's voice was quiet. I've watched from Seoul, saw what you built here. Not just an empire, a family. You're a better man than I ever was. You have power and love. Ju-won stared at him for a long moment, then stepped aside. 5 minutes. Si-hyun entered. His eyes immediately found Sabrina standing in the living room, holding Ha-jin. The baby was awake, looking around with curious dark eyes. But before Si-hyun could say anything about his grandson, he turned fully to Sabrina. Ju-won tensed, moving closer to his wife. Sabrina, his father's voice broke. I owe you an apology. Sabrina's arms tightened around Ha-jin. I lied to you, Si-hyun continued. I manipulated you. I threatened your family. I drove you away when you were carrying my grandson, and for that, I'm very sorry. His hands clenched at his sides. Sabrina's eyes filled with tears. Why? Why did you do it? Because I was a fool. I thought I knew what was best for my son. I thought power and alliances mattered more than love. He paused, and genuine remorse cracked his voice. I was wrong, and you paid the price for my arrogance. You almost cost Ha-jin his father. Do you understand that? I was alone. pregnant, terrified, working myself to death because of your lies. I know. Si-hyun's face crumpled, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to make amends, if you'll let me. Sabrina looked at Ju-won. He said nothing, letting her make this decision. It was her forgiveness to give or withhold. The silence stretched. Ha-jin made a small sound, and Sabrina looked down at him, then back up. Ha-jin deserves to know his grandfather. If you prove you've changed, if you respect our boundaries, if you never, ever interfere with our lives again. I won't. Then you can meet your grandson. Si-hyun approached slowly, and Sabrina carefully handed Ha-jin over. The baby looked up at his grandfather with wide, curious eyes. He has your mother's eyes, Ju-won, Si-hyun whispered, tears falling freely. He's perfect. Ju-won moved to stand beside Sabrina, his arm around her waist. 3 generations, a family broken by lies, now beginning to heal. 6 months later, everything had transformed. Ha-jin was crawling everywhere, pulling himself up on furniture, babbling constantly. Sabrina's boutique, Infinity Designs, had opened in Soho to immediate success. Her maternity and plus-size fashion line celebrated in magazines. Ju-won's empire ran stronger than ever, but he kept that world far from his son. His grandfather visited monthly from Seoul, devoted and respectful of every boundary they'd set. One evening, the family gathered for dinner. Si-hyun on the floor with Ha-jin, making him laugh. Sabrina setting the table. Ju-won watching it all, this life he'd fought so hard to protect. Later, after his father left and Ha-jin was asleep, Ju-won stood on the balcony. Sabrina joined him, sliding under his arm. Ju-won looked at the city, then back at his wife. This is what real power looks like. Not just empires or fear, but this, love, family, everything worth protecting. She smiled, laid her head on his chest. Through the window, they could see Ha-jin's nursery, the soft glow of the nightlight. The end. Kang Si-hyun's lies almost destroyed his own son's family, didn't they? 7 months of manipulation. 7 months of watching Sabrina suffer alone, pregnant and terrified, believing the man she loved had abandoned her. That's the real tragedy. A father so obsessed with power and alliances that he nearly cost himself the only legacy that actually mattered, his grandson and Hana. She couldn't accept that Ju-won never wanted her. She tried to steal Sabrina's life because she believed it should have been hers. Pure obsession, pure entitlement. And when Sabrina fought back and shot one of her men, Hana ran like the coward she always was. If watching Hana get 10 years in prison and her family publicly disown her felt like justice, hit that subscribe button. This channel is where manipulators face consequences. Obsession gets punished, and love survives even the cruelest betrayals. Would you forgive someone who forged divorce papers and drove you away while carrying their grandchild? Let us know in the comments. Was Kang Si-hyun redeemable, or did he get off too easy? I want to know what you think, and don't forget to tell us where you're joining us from.